Hi everyone, here to talk about Skeleton Swapper 2. It's a major update for Skeleton Swapper, and it's not a new plugin, it's an update. So if you already own it, it will be free, and it will be available for Unreal version 5.6 and up. And I will try to cover everything in this tutorial, but I might miss something, and you can go to a store page and read the changelog because there are too many changes, and I truly recommend using this version instead of the old one because it's on a whole new level. And please try to watch this tutorial until the end without skipping because you might miss something important. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. After installing the plugin, you will right click on the mesh or the animation. You will see the skeleton swapper here. There are two different menus for the mesh and for the animation, so I will cover them both. Right now, from the UE4 mesh, we'll be creating the UEFN, or we can also create UE5 skeletal mesh or the MetaHuman. Also, this version of the plugin will let you swap vice versa. You can swap the UEFN to the UE4, so create UE4 mesh out of these guys, and you can swap between each other. There is new option that creates standalone skeleton. That means it will create a new skeleton based on this skeleton. Right now with this version, you don't have to assign your mesh to this skeleton. It can have a separate one if you don't want to make this one dirty. For example, if your mesh has a lot of different bones that you don't want to have them on this main skeleton. So let's just deselect this for now. Second new option is redistribute the skin weights. As you know, if you already owned Skeleton Swapper, it was transferring the weights. It was not redistributing them. Now it will proportionally redistribute the weights. So we will compare the swapped animation and the original one. You will see that they're almost identical. Next is the transfer morph targets. If your mesh has a morph targets, it will also transfer them. Also the sockets virtual bones, and it will also recreate the physics asset for your new mesh. And that means that if you have a clothing asset on your mesh, it will also work on the new mesh. And the materials will be transferred automatically. So let's just convert this mesh to the UEFN. Right now it will be assigned to this skeleton. It will not create a new skeleton, but if you want, we can also create a new one, and you will see that it will create a completely new mesh and a new skeleton here. All right, so we can compare this UE4 animation. Let's duplicate it and right click, open skeleton swapper, and this first tab is swapping. So we select the UEFN mesh skeleton. We don't need to backup because we duplicated. This is also a new feature. It will back up the animations if you need. And let's just convert this animation. So this message will inform you that retargeting options of your skeletons are different, and if you want to compare your animations, the best option is to set to click yes. And you can also pick no, like it will set just the different retargeting options. It will set everything to animation, but this is best when you retarget your animations. But right now we are swapping, so to compare, you can select yes, and you can cancel if you don't want to change retargeting options in your skeleton. You can always change that later, so let's just click yes. Now we can also pick our new mesh, apply to it, and now we can drag them in the level, just center them. Let's compare them. Those two animations are playing simultaneously, so you see that they are almost identical. We can see that a little bit the head is bent a little bit different because there are more bones, and even though the weights are distributed properly, still there is some discrepancy, and you see the fingers are pretty much the same. And yeah, it's pretty much identical animations. All right, let's compare the new mesh to the old one. So this is a new mesh, You can see that it has 5 spine bones, and this is the original one. We can also check the weights. Each weight distributed, and also has 2 neck bones. And we can check the clothing asset. The chain is actually the clothing asset, so you can see that it works properly here. If you guys hover over Unreal icons, you will see that swapper windows don't close until you actually close them here, and this is really useful. I will show you later, but now we're gonna talk about this reference swap tab, which is the most important feature in this update, I think, because this feature is gonna save you guys so much headache, and you're gonna thank me later. All right. So the reference swap has 2 main modes. It's either create new independent character setup or replace the original. So it will look at the original mesh. It says the mesh to replace, and it will look at every reference that uses this mesh, and it will either create new one, a new setup for this character, so new folder in the content window with the blueprints, Anim Blueprints, animations, montages, everything, or it can replace this old one with the new one everywhere. All right, and both of these features, they also depend on this retarget animation checkbox, if it's checked or not. You see it's grayed out now. It's actually just a safety feature for mode number 1, and it's not supposed to be working for mode number 2, but I already fixed it in 5.8, and I will update 5.7 and 5.6, but you can work around this. This is actually happening because these guys not sharing the same skeleton, and I'm gonna show you. So this mesh also shares the same skeleton, UEFN skeleton. You see now we can uncheck this, and every time we check or uncheck, you see this changes. It says, you know, if we pick a retargeter, it will create the new character setup, and it will retarget the animations, right? If we uncheck, it will share the animations, so it will not create duplicate animations of this. For example, we want to create the UEFN setup. It will not duplicate the animations, not retarget them. It will use this UEFN animations, which is not a good way to go if you are using different mesh, completely different. This is just in case if your character is almost the same as the UEFN character, same proportions, everything, and you just want to, you know, save some space and you just want to share the animations. That's the only time you want to use this. If you're using a different character, you always want to retarget. All right. And in order for them, for these 2 meshes share the animations, they both need to be sitting on the same skeleton. And if you created your new character with the different skeleton, it will not be possible. That's why this option is grayed out in this case. And in the second mode, without retargeting, it's useful if you are switching from your old UE4 to a new UEFN or UE5 mesh. So it's the same mesh and you don't want to retarget. You just uncheck this box and it will only swap the animations. It will not retarget them. Okay, before you guys get really confused with all this talking, let me just show you the example of probably the most useful case here. So creating new character setup for UEFN, for GASP, and we just pick our new UEFN mesh, and we pick a mesh to replace the UEFN mannequin, and we create the new one and retarget. So you see now it scanned all the animations and it will tell you that requires 1.6 gigabytes of memory. So we just hit continue. Nothing is saved until you save this. So, and I would also suggest you to go to edit and engine preferences and disable the autosave, because it will start saving your project and your new character setup, which is gonna take some space here. And yeah, we just need to wait now because UEFN is a lot of animations, and just wait. All right, when this pop-up comes out, just press yes. This is setting retargeting options of the skeleton to animation. because we are retargeting animations, so the best setting is keeping it at animation driven. Yeah, traversal logic, also press yes. Alright, so now you see the magic. You just pick the new sandbox BB Kong and just hit play. And you see that it created new folder here. The first time you're gonna play, the gameplay might freeze sometimes like this. It's just because it's caching the animations. It's gonna happen just first gameplay, and then it will be written in your derived.cache folder. So next time you will not experience those freezings. As you see, everything is fine. The foot placement, the traversals, alright, and the clothing asset, everything works. So we have this new folder. You see that it created the blueprints, animations, everything, and then nothing is saved until you guys really go and save it. Now let's also try on different character here. Let's not do UEFN this time. Let's do UE5. Yeah, let's create a new skeleton. Also, this guy has shape keys. We can check the shape keys. And here, let's you need to pick the mesh that has the reference. So it's a queen. I'm gonna pick the queen, and I'm gonna do the same thing, create new character setup. Yeah, this one is much lower, 23 megabytes. Alright. Yeah, same thing, just click yes. And now we can just pick this third person blueprint Kwakwa. Just hit play, and we have it. This is a third person running, so there is no traversals, just you see everything is fine. And you can see the characters here where we have the folder for this guy, and animations and the blueprint and everything. Also, nothing is saved, okay? So until you do. Yeah, let's actually check the shape keys. So this is the new mesh, and you see everything works. If you assign it to UE5, it will also transfer those keys to UE5 skeleton or UEFN skeleton. Alright, I also guys want to talk about the 5.8 because 5.8 I had to make some changes. The retargeted changed, and the reference swap was kind of giving me a different result on the feet placement here. So let me just show you on the UE5 skeleton because it's faster. Alright, so reference swap, let's pick the queen, and just same thing. See, I added this feet height adjustment and pelvis adjustment, so we're gonna create just with the zeros. Alright, let's pick the third person BB Kong. You see that feet a little bit higher from the ground, a little bit up. So what we do is actually the swapper window never closes until you close it yourself. So you can do is feet height. I can make like -2 or something. So it says redo the set of animations. So, or create a second full copy. You just want to redo it. It will always retarget from the originals. It will not retarget from the newly created assets. Yeah, now you see feet are good. You can also change the pelvis height. For example, if you see the knees are bent here a little bit, I can up the pelvis a little. So I can do it as many times as I want. So if you experience some this feet a little bit higher, that's actually based on the mesh. That's because of the mesh. 5.8 is a little different, so it gives you that. You see now the knees are not that much bent. You see my character's root is a little bit above the ground, and that's why it resulted in this uplift. Anyways, in 5.7 and 5.6 I didn't see that problem, but if you guys really want that addition in those other engine versions, just let me know. I'll update the plugin. Alright, I hope you guys like this new addition to the plugin and new update, and you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope it wasn't too long and too confusing, and you know, at least you guys owe me that feedback on the product page. I mean, look at this. There's a bunch of haters here, and this kind of really made me think, you know, several times if I should just create the new product, Skeleton Swapper 2. You know, I'm not that kind of person, so yeah. Here you go, free update. Bye bye.